We're back. Part 2. This time around, we're going to do a whole bunch of little bitty buildings and things. All right, let's keep this ball rolling here. So, this project right here is when I realized how small this whole diorama is going to be. So we're going to make a little bench that has a couple vases on it. And what you're going to start doing is just chopping these little toothpicks to size. And how I do it, and I'm going to look into something better to saw little tiny pieces of wood, maybe a little hand saw or something, is I just kind of score it all the way around and then snap it and then sand the edges. And then you just line them up, put a little dabble of glue. I'm just using leftover glue from previous kits. I honestly don't know what kind of glue this is, but normally what I use is either, my new favorite is the Fabri-Tac or the Eileen's Tacky Glue, the Fast Dry. This stuff, the only thing I don't like is it takes a while to dry, but I'm using it up because it's on hand. You know how glue is. It's not cheap, so when you got some, you're going to use it up. And this isn't bad. And I'm just going to do this upside down. I'm just going to put 2 gloops of glue. This does dry clear. And then put the little legs on either side. And I did wait for this to dry before I touched it. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart. This is after I waited a bit so that it's at least stuck together long enough that I can flip it over without it falling apart. Looks like a little surf or skateboard. And then we're just going to put the 2 beads on top. Yeah, this is tiny, and I'm realizing, oh, this is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Ta-da! A little shelf or a bench. Whatever you want it to be. We're going to just set that aside and on to the next. And we're going to make this cute little hut. If that last project didn't tell you how small it's going to be, this one will, because this is the little fairy houses. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Fairies are small, right? At least from everything that we've learned. Tinkerbell's teeny tiny. She needs a teeny tiny house. First, we're going to make the inner workings here, and you're going to slide these 2 pieces together. Mine was extra loose, so I'm going to glue this. It even tells you up there that put a couple dabs of glue to hold it together. I didn't use much. My particular glue doesn't dry very quick, so the less the better. I can't be too globby with this. I'm learning my glue discipline. You're going to make a little X, and then if you've ever made tables in previous kits, same thing. And these are very loose, so I'm going to glue these in place. There's one on the bottom and one on the top. If the top one slides down on you because it's really loose, the hole's pretty big, just hold it up for a second until your glue tacks down. All right, now we're going to cover it. Now, anything that goes around a circle, I like to kind of pre-curl it. If that, sometimes that means just putting your fingers along it like this and kind of curls it, or just roll it up. Just roll it up loosely, and it'll hold its little curl here. It's a lot easier, and then it doesn't pop up at the end. You'll know if you've tried to do this without doing that. All right, we got our little house tube. Now we got to put the roof on. Anything that has little dotted lines, that's a fold line, usually. And I like to pre-score them. So I just take my little stylus and just, and my straight edge, and just go right along that edge there. It'll help you in making more crisp edges. It's even, I would even highly recommend this. The smaller it is, the more I would score it, because it's really hard to get a crisp edge on smaller things. This one's not too bad. And then you're just going to fold it up, and then you're going to glue the end. So you got kind of a thatched roof effect, a little hut. The only thing I'm not showing is cutting these pieces out. So I noticed that, and it's really nice, that some pieces are a punch out. I find that they did that to all the intricate pieces, like little butterflies and things that got lots of frilly-willies around. But this piece and a lot of the main pieces, you have to physically cut them out. And I just use scissors, personally. You could use your X-Acto, a nice sharp X-Acto. But, yeah, that's probably the only part that might be tricky. Especially a piece like this that has a lot of curves. But for the most part, the trickier ones are punch outs, and then all the rest is kind of straight lines. So I haven't had much trouble. All right, we got our little roof, and we're just going to glue it to the top of our house cone. This one also has a base, so we're just going to stick that right on the bottom. Center it as best as you can. Now we get to decorate the roof. It's got one of these little flowers. We don't have any more flowers to make. Whew, we did that. And if you missed it and you want to know how to do the flowers, go back to there's another video before this one. And I show you how to make all the plants. It's not too bad. And this is what I mean. So the little butterfly, thank goodness, this one's just a punch out. So, and all you're going to do with the little butterflies is just make sure you put a little bend in the middle so it looks like their wings are a little fluttery. They gave us 2 bags of this little curlicue yarn stuff. One's brown, one's green, and we're just going to put a little mix of it on top of the hut. Just looks like vines are growing down. They don't tell you how much or anything like that. Just do it by eye, what looks right to you. I put a little bit of brown, more green than brown. And then we'll put the cute little flower and a little butterfly. You can make this as fuzzy as you like. They give you more than enough, I feel. Of course, I'm saying this before I've done the end, so I think we were putting it all over the place. I probably will end up. This is my favorite material to work with. I'd put it on everything if I could. On to the next house. So first we're going to make these pieces. One's a roof and one is, I believe, a front porch step. So just wallpaper it. One thing I will say about these instructions, it can be very detailed and very vague at the same time. So when I built this house, there was a couple steps missing, but it just shows you the end, like ta-da, and you're like, wait, you didn't tell me how to do that part. You'll come across that a lot. Just stare at the pictures a lot. You just kind of use your little creativity detective skills to figure it out sometimes. But most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, it does give you the full instructions. Now I decided to put the paper on first before I put the backing on, just so I can see how it fits and if I have to do some adjustments. Make sure you punch the little holes. Those are windows. I'm thinking. I'm not sure. And this one is just a punch out piece. And it's pre-creased. Great. I wish all the pieces were that way. I'm sure it's for cost effectiveness, And we can cut stuff out. That's not that hard. All right, we got this piece on. Now let's put the backing on to make it a little more sturdy. And this is going to be what I mean. They just give you a picture. So by logic, it means put the roof on. So we're just going to glue it to the top here. And I'm going to assume that everything's going to be flush against a wall. So I'm making the backs of these houses flat, if that makes sense. So this roof is going to come all the way forward and with no hangover in the back like that. In worst case scenario, if we have to move it, we can use our X-Acto knife and pry it off. No big deal. But I'm thinking because there's no decoration in the back, this is going to go against a wall. So I'm going to make it flat. And of course we have to have a door. So we just glue the two pieces together. And then we're going to put that little rock porch piece on the bottom. This is another part that did not tell you to put this on here, but it just gives you the first picture that shows that the door is there. So you kind of have to think about this. Okay, so this must go here. Yeah, it's detailed and vague at the same time. We got another cute little house, a little hobbit house. So we're going to basically put this together just like the other one. It's just more round than the last one. The only tricky part I found is, oops, make sure that hole is in the right direction. Yep. Yeah, like that. Otherwise your papers won't line up. Another door. This one's a little hobbit door. Alright, we're going to wallpaper the outside, and this is why that hole needed to be on that particular side. Otherwise this wouldn't line up at all for you. Pre-score. This one is a piece that we had to cut out. And then since this roof is curved, we're going to make sure that we pre-curve our roof and stick it down here. And now that I think about it, I think I put the back piece backwards too, so that our curve is kind of wonky, but that's okay. It gives it a whimsical look. And because this glue is not a quick dry glue, I did have to hold this for a while. And we got the door with the little stoop, and then we got a little window that goes in that hole. The other one didn't have the little windows, which I thought was interesting. I looked. I was like, did I miss a spot? They just kind of are left open. There we go. Cute little hobbit house. Okay, little Tinkerbell needs a place to sit and eat. So we're going to just basically make a log slice. So you're just going to glue this piece onto this one. I think on some of these little blobby pieces, I did have to kind of pre-line it up just to make sure I'm going the right direction. Because it's not super obvious on some of them of which way is up or down. But I think if you get close, you're fine. And this one's just going to have the little bead at the bottom. There's your table. We have a couple things on our table. Of course, we have our favorite little stringy moss stuff. And we're going to put a flower in the little vase bead thing. Bowl. I do like these little flower beads. They're very cute. And then we're just going to glue it to the top of the table. Now we need places to sit. We got a table. Now we need chairs. So we're going to make basically 2 little stumps. And you're going to stack 3 of these discs. They give you extra. When you punch out the wood, it'll have a plus sign. That means there's extra pieces, which is really nice on some of them. Although this wood is very, very durable. I would say the only time I used a spare piece is because I dropped it on the floor and I couldn't find it. I didn't actually break anything, I just lost it, and it's going to happen. I mean, you could actually just use real sticks if you wanted to. And of course, I pre-roll these up just to make my life easier. You're going to stack them up and then put the top on. Wrap them up. And you got 2 stumps. We're going to make a bridge. Hey, we got, this one did give us a spare little bendy piece, which I thought was interesting. I could see it breaking, though, if you tried to pull that apart. It is smaller than a lot of the bendy pieces that we have used in the past, that I've used, I should say. But this one's not bad. I could see it breaking, though. This fits very tight. No glue required. And then you're just going to put this little paper piece down the middle. I pre-curled it. The only thing, mine didn't quite, it was a little bit too big, so go ahead and try to, if you're doing it, make sure you cut it really narrow. And there you go. You got yourself a little bridge. Very cute. Next, we're going to make a little water well. So first, we got to put the water at the bottom because it's a water well. And then you're just going to stack up these rings. So there's 2 rings and then 2 little half ones that you are going to want to put kind of evenly on each side. That gap is going to be where your little roof piece is going to go. There's a little paper piece that goes in the middle, and again, I'm just going to pre-curl it so that it kind of automatically goes to the outside. This one you probably could have stayed not curled it, just to use the centrifugal force to push out, you know, that kind of thing. You just glue it in, squish it in. All right, now we got to make a little tiny bucket. First, we're going to make the handle. So you're going to cut a piece of this pipe cleaner. Now, if you run out of this pipe cleaner, I'm sure all you crafties, you've got a billion pieces, so, or a piece of wire would work. Because we're going to cut most of the little fuzz off. Just make the handle. And I'm just going to bend it in the middle and place it inside. I don't think I glued it. I just stuck it in there. All right, we're going to cut some more toothpicks. I'm glad they give us a lot. This is another one. If you run out or you break them all or something, you can just use a regular toothpick or a dowel. It'll work. And there are two sizes, so one's going to be smaller. It's going to be for the inside. It's going to hold the rope that holds the bucket. And then there's a longer one that's going to go along the roof line. This yarn they gave us, it's very unforgiving. It's very stretchy, so when you measure, try not to stretch it out too much. Keep it a little loose. Although measurements are kind of, you don't have to be super exact, I will say. And you're just going to tie it to one side. I didn't tie it, I just wrapped it around and glued it so it wouldn't unravel. And you can do it as long or as short as you want. They don't give real true dimensions. And then you're going to just tie the other end to your bucket. Time for the little roof. So this arrow, there's two of them, is going to be that's going to be where the roof line is. So you're going to glue one side and then glue the other. And I double checked, the width of how far these are going to go by putting the well right next to it. Because I wasn't sure. Like I said, there's no real measurements other than looking at the picture. So I did it pretty close to the edge there. Seemed to work. And I would recommend letting this dry so that you can flip it over without it falling apart. I've done that, and I had to set it aside for a little while before you go to the next step. Save yourself some anguish. All right, so those little notches that you made, that's right where those two bottoms of the arrows go. And then you're going to put the little beam on the top. And now we're going to wallpaper it. So there's two little half circles that go right on each side. And then you're going to wallpaper it with this brick piece. Now if we did everything right, this should fit right in there. And you have to have a way to bring the bucket up. So we're going to make a handle. So first we're going to do this little circle piece. I'm going to bend the wire first before cutting it. Believe me, it's a lot easier than working with a teeny tiny little piece of wire. So just make your Z shape and then cut it. Doing it this way, it gives you a handle to hold on to until you need it. A little more control, in my opinion. And then glue it in place. And you got yourself a cute little wishing well. We got a lot of the main building pieces done, so I'm going to go through and see what we can pre-make before we start putting things together. And a couple things is there's a couple sets of stairs. Easy enough. It looks intimidating. It's not. First, you're just going to build the base. And these were very loose for me, so I did glue all the pieces. We don't want this falling apart. Even though it will tighten up once you put the paper on, you want it to be secure. You don't want to pick up your beautiful piece and it falls all to pieces as soon as you tip it. That's the things I think about. I like to bring these to shows and things. I kind of advertise myself, you know, that kind of thing. But I know people will touch it. So I'm trying to think of, if I didn't know how this was built, how would I manhandle it, you know? Some people are gentle, some are not. So you got to think of that. No matter how many signs you put, do not touch. And then there's a second stairway. This one has a little bit of a longer platform at top, so you can tell the difference. I would recommend, if you're building a bunch of things at once, don't punch out all the pieces at once. Just punch out the pieces that you need for that particular piece. Because if you punch it all out, you lose all the labels, you don't know which goes where. It just makes it a lot easier. Just do a piece at a time. And now we're going to cover them. For the stair steps, they give you this piece, and I would recommend pre-scoring them for sure. And then it's just a Z-fold. So if you don't know what a Z-fold is you fold it backwards and then forwards, backwards and then forwards, backwards and then forwards, all the way down. And then just glue it on. And you're going to do that twice. There we go. We got our 2 sets of stairs all set. I visibly cringed when I saw that there's 2 rope bridges for this. If you watch my Indiana Jones, the jungle build, and you seen that rope bridge that I had to make, that was horrible. Well, this one's a close contender for second place. So first thing starts off innocently enough. We're just going to cut all of our little dowel pieces. And then we're going to cut 2 pieces of the string at 20 centimeters. You're going to use one for each side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tie one of our little dowels in the middle. So how I would do this is, and this is the easy part, is I would make a loop, put your dowel in the middle, and then tighten it up. And then you'll find your middle spot. And you're going to do that twice. So you got 2 of these. This is the easy part. Okay, so now you got this far. And basically what you're going to do is tie it to each one. That's what they want you to do. I started and I tried to see if it was easy. For one, this string that they give you is basically yarn, and it's so soft and not. I think if we had actual twine, it might have worked a little easier. But this is so delicate and soft, and it's like working with Angora. So I tried doing it the way they wanted you. So you're going to put it on, wrap it, go to the next one, put it on, wrap it. Except the problem with that is once you get the first one on and you start working on the second one, the first one will fall off. So what I ended up doing is I glued every single one. And I also weaved it a little bit. So I put a dab of glue on both sides, the front and back, right where the strings would be. Glued the pieces on, and then I crisscrossed it every time. It took a little patience. You just gotta, I was sitting there. This took a while. You get the fast version, but yeah, it was frustrating. There was a time when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to glue these strings straight on and call it done. And it would have looked perfectly fine, to be honest. But no, I had to get the fancy. throughout this, I was also counting the steps, like, how many more do I have to do? Another one. You have to do 7. We can do this. And I did let that dry a little bit because the glue that I was working with, like I said before, it doesn't dry very quick, and I didn't want it to stick to my hands all the time. And then once you get that far, you're supposed to tie a dowel at each end, which I kind of sort of did. I ended up kind of just gluing it on. I was getting tired by this point. And then you're supposed to be making a little fence, and I basically said, nope, I'm not doing that. I'll do that when it's in the final project. Maybe I'll have brain clarity by then. Or I'll make up a different fence. I didn't want to deal with this string anymore. But I have to admit, it does look pretty cool. All right, if we didn't have PTSD from the last one, we'll be okay. No, this one's not too bad. So this one, at least this one has holes. If the other one was the same way as this one, it probably would have been a little bit easier. So what I did is I'm going to use a needle. There is no way I'm going to try to get this fuzzy little string that they gave us to go through those holes, let alone 8 of them. Actually, you'd have to do 16 of them because you got to do both sides. And it's very fuzzy. No. If you did, let's say you didn't have a needle, what I would have done is probably put glue at the end and glue the end so that it's stiff and then thread it that way. That's probably your best bet. But this one, you're going to cut 4 strands of the string, and then you're going to twirl the 2 strands together so it's thicker. Doesn't make it any easier to thread, believe me. I do need to get me a needle threader. I had one, and I just don't know where it is. And then you're just going to, oh, this is so much better. Thread them through. And then it also goes through your little platform at the top. Don't worry about spacing yet. Our biggest challenge right now is just getting the thread through the holes. All right, we got this far. Yay, much better. Now we can do the spacing. So they want it to be about 6 centimeters in length, we can do that. So I'm just going to pull it down. Try not to pull it through. We don't want to rethread that needle. It was not fun. Glue it down or knot it at the top if you're concerned of it falling through. And then we're just going to do some nice even spacing until it's about 6 centimeters. Now we can fiddle with it. And then I just double knotted it at the end so it doesn't fall all the way through, because I will cry if it falls apart. And then just trim it down. I'm glad that they requested the strings to be a little longer than you needed. You do need that little playroom there. And then you got this piece of paper that goes on the top. It kind of covers up all your threads there. And there's a dotted line there, so that means we're going to score that because it folds over the edge. It makes it nice and neat. And just glue it on. Ta-da! This one wasn't too bad. We problem solved. We learn. And it's still cute. Alright, I think I'm just going to throw in another little piece here. We're going to do kind of a brain erase of the rope bridge fiascos. And we're going to build a couple of the building fronts. We'll just get those out of the way. These are easy enough. We're just going to wallpaper the pieces. Make some cute little fairy doors. We're also going to be making a little ledge. This one's a little different. It's just folded up a bit more around the piece. And this is where it gets into the vagueness again. It tells you to put the little roof on, but then in the next picture, it has black underneath. Now, they do give you a piece of black cardboard or what you call it, construction paper, but they never say to double up on the roof part. They don't say put the black roof on and then put this on top. If they do, I missed how they were doing that. It was out of order if they did. It's okay. Either way, it still looks cute. And we have one more doorway here. And this one's doubled up, so it's got the little brown door, and then it's got the edging around the edging around the edge. It's very technical. And this is another one that also on the last picture showed it was dark underneath. I might change that out. I'm not sure. It looks fine the way it is for now. Or, worst case, I could also kind of just paint the underside since it's already glued down. I'm going to throw in one more thing, and this is easy. It's just because it's really nice to do something super easy and brainless after you do something really tough. Well, you know, it's relative. And we're just going to make these little wood steps. And it's easy enough. You just stick it on. Just make sure the little tab is still exposed. I'm sure that goes in. It goes in somewhere. And you're going to make 5 of those. Ta-da! All right, we got another big chunk of our project done. We made little houses. We made bridges. Oh my gosh. We got those out of the way. We made steps. It's any kind of way of walking somewhere. Bridges, steps, and houses. Oh my. So this is a good stopping point here. I think we got, I think we're doing about a third of the book every time. So we're going to do the last third on the next video. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe so you don't miss it. And I'll see you in the next one. I think, no promises, we will finish it. See you then. Bye.